Good morning and welcome to the Enshrine Learning Academy October 2019 webinar. And today, together with my fellow Enshrine Learning Academy coaches and Baret and Belinda Doveston, we are talking about unlocking your natural energy and unleashing your team's greatness. This is Usha Maharaj just saying hi to everybody that we've got in the room this morning. And before we get started, won't you pop a loud and clear into the chat box so that I know I'm talking to you and you're hearing me and I'm not doing this all for myself, sitting here at my laptop waiting to share some value with you. This webinar this morning is all about transforming your experience in the workplace, within your teams, in your homes, and in fact, in any other circle of engagement with other human beings. Take notes, ask questions, and let's enjoy the next hour together. I see lots of loud and clears coming through. That's excellent. That means we can get started and get right into it. If you haven't already said hi, pop a hello into the chat box and let us know where you're joining us from this morning. As many of you know, between Anne, Belinda, and myself, we host these webinars on a monthly basis through the Enshrine Learning Academy, and we're all about adding value, giving back, and contributing to your growth and development. We absolutely love to see new people join us, and we love to see so many of you coming back for more each month. And thank you for the emails and messages that we receive after the sessions. So many of our webinar participants have engaged with us on social media channels, and we just love the connection. It's a great way to stay connected and to keep the conversation going. We all share unique content on our platforms as another means of sharing value and making a difference. So if you haven't reached out and connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, then you definitely know what to do straight after the webinar today. Hello, and a big shout out to, let's see who we've got. Oh, we've got lots of people joining us today. Herman, Nancy, and Kebet, Vanierand, Farshad, Albertus, Thomas, welcome back. It's good to see you on so many of our webinars. Balilani, Greg, Farshad, Karen, Lance, Hannaline, we've got Michelle, Tony, Karen, Thomas, Deborah, Quabus, Jyoti, Buyo, Musondo, Shoban, Julia. Oh, we've got lots and lots of people. Pia, Lubalalo, Renshia, Deborah. Oh, and then we've got everybody saying that you're hearing me loud and clear. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're very excited to have you in the room with us this morning. Let's dive right into this topic of unlocking your natural energy and unleashing your team's greatness. And Belinda and I will be sharing our own practical insights on applying the contribution compass for individual flow and performance, as well as for well-functioning, balanced teams. I'm going to get us started on the topic, and Anne is going to dive straight in thereafter, and then Belinda's going to pick up the baton and take us through to the end of the session. You are invited to ask your questions throughout the sessions. As it's popping into your mind, just drop it into the chat box and one of us will pick it up. We've also set aside a bit of time right at the very end to grab any final cues that you've got, and we'll send the A's your way. And if after the session you've got thoughts popping up in your mind, you know where to find us and you know how to get in touch and to ask those questions, get them answered. Now let's dive straight in to this really, really important topic of unlocking your natural energy and unleashing your team's greatness. We're talking about this topic, and if you'd asked me what this meant a few years ago, I would have sat there and thought, well, this is an interesting topic, but what does it mean anyway? What does it mean for me as an individual? And what exactly does it mean for my team? And if it has impact for my team, what does it mean for my organization? I would have had all of those questions going through my mind. And I expect that many of you've got those questions going through your mind too. So let me start by saying, unlocking your natural energy and unleashing your team's greatness is something that every single one of us should be trying to do and trying to grow into and trying to improve upon every single day. And before I unpack what that means to me and what it should mean to you or what it may mean to you, let me just start by telling you a little bit about who I am and why maybe this topic's interesting and important to me and why I think it's interesting and important to you too. My name is Usha Maharaj. I'm a speaker, facilitator, and a coach. I am a chartered accountant, SA by profession. And as CAs, and if any of you engage with them or are them, then you know chartered accountants are interested in the bottom line. The bottom line for me is the bottom line. I'm also qualified as a brain-based coach, and I specialize in leadership and women empowerment. My profiling tool of choice, and I have no doubt in saying that this is the most exceptional tool out there. I've tried so many on myself and on others, but the Contribution Compass just stands out as the #1 profiling tool that I've experienced out there and the one that I recommend to all of my clients. And the reason I recommend it is because it's a shortcut, a cheat sheet almost, to enhance your self-awareness, to really dive into career progression, to improve your levels of leadership, to enhance your emotional intelligence as a personal development, personal empowerment tool for your own growth, to improve morale of your teams, to engage other people, to engage your teams, to engage your employers a whole lot more effectively. And these are just some of the reasons that I say Contribution Compass stands out as my profiling tool of choice. But let's dive into the Contribution Compass itself and understand the topic a little bit more. So we're talking about natural energy. We say, well, what is natural energy anyway? If I want to unlock my natural energy, what does that mean to me? What does it mean to you? What is natural energy? And if I unlock my natural energy, how do I even know that I've unlocked it? How do I know how to measure my natural energy? And this is where the Contribution Compass comes into play. With the Contribution Compass, now if you've been assessed on the Contribution Compass, or you know this as a tool and you're using it on your clients or you use it for yourself, just pop a note in the chat box telling me that you know the Contribution Compass, or tell me what your profile name is, and I'll know how many of us are in here already actively engaging with this tool and how many of us are just learning about it for the first time. Contribution Compass, just in a nutshell, has got 8 profiles. And so when you complete an online assessment for the Contribution Compass, you will be given one of 8 profiles. You'll be told, I'm either a catalyst, like Karen is a catalyst that's certainly using the Contribution Compass actively, or I'm a champion, a coach, a connector, a custodian like Anne and like Greg, someone with high tempering energy who's a conductor like Tom, or you might be a cultivator or a calibrator. So you're going to be one of 8 profiles around the Contribution Compass wheel. And Bulani, you haven't used the tool as yet. Hopefully at the end of the session, you're going to run out and want to grab yourself an online profile and really get yourself assessed. Other than the 8 profiles, what really, really stands out are the 4 energies that the Contribution Compass will analyze for you. Every single one of us has a percentage of all 4 of these energies. And when we say we want to take our natural energy and we want to use it to the absolute fullest, we want to maximize the benefit we get from our natural energy, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about your activating energy, your inspiring energy, your sustaining energy, your tempering energy. How can we really dive into that and maximize the value and the benefit we're getting out of those energies for each of us? What happens often is that we stay in one of the 4 energies or 2 of the 4 energies, and we don't really get to experience all 4. And when we don't utilize all 4 to their maximum potential, we're not creating the value that we could be creating, and we're not unlocking that potential for ourselves. I'm going to dive straight into the 4 energies, and if you haven't done your profile, that's okay. Try and assess just from the descriptions and the little case studies I'm going to go through. Try and figure out what your dominant energy is from the 4 energies. So we've got activating, inspiring, sustaining, tempering energy. Try and figure out which one of the 4 resonates most with you and which could be one of your dominating energies. And then as you figure it out, pop it into the chat box, and then I'd like to see if we can all figure it out for ourselves. My most dominating energy is activating energy. And the activating energy, if you want to describe a person with high activating energy, you'll see they're energized, dynamic, creative, really great at getting things started. On the flip side, and every up has a down, every right side has a wrong side. On the flip side, someone with really high activating energy that's constantly playing in this space is usually fabulous at getting things started and is usually equally fabulous at getting things ended. So we can come up with new ideas. We're creative, we're dynamic, we're almost looking like we're all over the place. This is somebody you'd say they look like their heads are in the clouds. And they're not grounded. Really good at starting stuff, really bad at getting things ended. Drivers of growth for someone with really high activating energy would be potential, would be what if, really looking at the bigger picture, looking at strategy, someone who's very visual in nature. And I want to bring this home to you and go through a profile of one of my actual clients who has really high activating energy. And one of the points that they provided feedback on, and this is someone with high activating energy, and we're going to look at the benefits, we're going to look at some of the drawbacks of each of the energies, and at the end of it, what we're saying is there should be tools and mechanisms to get the most value out of all 4 energies that each of us are blessed with. This delegate or candidate says, I sometimes find it difficult working with people. I get frustrated with people who do not communicate well, are not fast-paced and energetic, and do not contribute to a team effort. I end up taking a lot of work on myself as I do not have many people to delegate to. I also tire out with administrative, boring tasks and lack the motivation to do them, and they always find their way to the bottom of my to-do list until I can sit down and invest the time to work on them. These tasks are generally outside of my flow. Now, if you resonate with this, if you resonate with these comments, then you probably got pretty high activating energy going on for you. The high activating energy does not want to be bogged down with the routine administrative tasks that are going to be completed on an ongoing or a continuous or a repetitive basis. They want to be challenged with new activities, with new ideas, with driving new projects. And when we're looking at the contribution compass, it's about understanding our energy profiles, understanding the energy profiles of our teams, and making sure that we're putting ourselves into flow so that we can gain the most of it and that we're not constantly just getting stuck and getting pushed back because we're now playing in an area that's outside of flow. So if you've got high activating energy or you think you have, pop activating into the chat box and I'll know who we're talking to. The next energy we want to look at is the inspiring energy. Now, the inspiring energy, just like the word suggests, this is the energy that connects with people. It would be someone that you would see as passionate, outgoing, great at networking, great at meeting new people. On the flip side, individuals with really high inspiring energy could be easily distracted from a task at hand. Drivers for growth with people of high energy, inspiring energy would be connection, would be engaging with other people. And they're looking at why, purpose-driven. Who are we going to bring into this? How are we going to get our teams? They're looking at how do we get our teams engaged, keep them connected, and the learning styles auditory. So if this is now ringing bells to you and you think you've got high inspiring energy, you know what to do. Type inspiring into the chat box. Karen tells us she's high activating energy, and my experience with Karen, I can definitely see it. The ideas woman who looks at growth and strategy in ways that others just can't see it. If you've got high inspiring energy, you want to pop it into the chat box so that we know that you're getting a feel for where you might be on the contribution compass. Now, this is a candidate of mine with really high inspiring energy, and you look at this from the 4 percentages at the bottom of the screen. You've got 35% inspiring energy, which is huge. And if we look at the little spidergram in yellow in between the contribution compass wheel, we can see that it's spiking toward the right. This person's an extroverted personality. They love people, and look at the comments that they've given me. They've got a bubbly, positive attitude. My friend once said, I am always the life of the party. That sums it up beautifully. At the end of the day, I just enjoy having fun, laughing, and having a positive impact on the people around me. Now, if you are high inspiring energy, and if all you're doing every single day is sitting behind your laptop, churning out reports, analyzing data, not engaging with other people, you're going to feel like your energy is being sapped from you. You're going to feel like I'm out of flow. And understanding your energy, understanding what really gets your rhythm and your vibe up is how you can get yourself into the flow, and then doing the same with your teams, making sure that you're placing them into the correct roles, that you can get the most out of them as well. So if you're high inspiring energy, pop inspiring into the chat box now. Herman says, I have high inspiring energy making me a coach. We're only focusing on energy today. I'm not going to go into the profiles, but Herman, with high inspiring energy, you could easily be a coach profile. You could be one of the other profiles as well, but certainly coach profile could be one of them. And if you've tested it, maybe you know that you're a coach profile. The next energy we're going to look at is the sustaining energy. Now, your sustaining energy, you would describe this as somebody who's compassionate, a great team player, and reliable at getting things done with the team. Will often seek direction from others. On the flip side, this is someone who's very grounded, who loves to understand what they're meant to be doing and then to just get it done, to churn it out, to get the routine. Routine keeps them in flow. They're able to do the repetitive tasks. So we said someone with really high activating energy gets bogged down by the repetitive tasks. Someone with really high sustaining energy is going to enjoy the repetitive tasks. So in ourselves, we need to know what our highest energies are, and we need to place ourselves in the roles that are using those energies, and we need to do the same for our teams. And here's an example of a candidate with really high sustaining energy coming in at 36.6%. As an individual, I thrive on order and having a plan of action. So when there are frequent amendments to a plan that is beyond my control, I tend to become demotivated and feel that I do not have control anymore. When we're pushed out of our natural energy flow, it naturally causes a bit of resentment. It makes us a little bit unhappy. It takes us out of flow. And when we do that to our team members, we're doing the exact same thing. We're taking them out of flow. We're taking them out of their peak performance zone. We need to be able to see this for ourselves so that we stay in peak performance, and then we need to say it in others as well so that we can develop and grow and nurture, and that we can get the most out of them. If you're high sustaining energy, this is your predominant energy, pop sustaining into the chat box so that we know that this is you. And Anne says, I'm high sustaining energy. And this is why we're such a great team, Anne, Belinda, and I, because our energy is all over the matrix. And when you put us together, you find quite a nice balanced picture. And that's what it comes down to when we're trying to get our teams to function properly, is to balance out that energy. The last energy I'm going to look at is your tempering energy. Your tempering energy looks like orderly, systems-oriented with a good eye for detail, strong at completing tasks or projects, but finds it tough to start new things. Their drivers of growth are order, and they're always asking the how questions. How can I make it better? How can I improve it? How can I fine-tune? How can I really take it to the next level? And that's your high tempering energy. Anything that requires me to implement new projects or be innovative or think creatively is exhausting for me. Now look at this profile where there's a peak in tempering energy at 38.49% and a dip in activating energy, 8.37%. So this person is saying, I struggle with coming up with the new ideas. The activating energy is sitting at 8.37%, and that's where that struggle comes in. And if you're not aware that is who you are, and this is why you struggle, and if you're not actively trying to utilize that 8.37% of activating energy, that's where you stumble into blocks in the workplace and you really can't move forward, and it creates frustration for you. I either feel like I don't have any ideas or that my ideas are not good enough to be communicated. Now, all of this, I mean, you're finding blocks, you're finding challenges, you're finding frustrations. These are things that you should set action plans in place for. Set action plans, develop yourself, grow yourself, overcome the challenges, and learn how to maximize all of your energy profiles so that you get the most value for yourself in any sort of environment, and then you get the most value for your teams as well. None of us operate in our own individual silos. It's all about us, and then us within a team, and then our team within a bigger organization or bigger department, and then that department within the greater organization, and then that company within the larger community, within your region, within your nation, within the world. It's what can we do as individuals to grow ourselves and then grow our teams and develop our teams, always looking to add the most value. in whatever sphere that we're talking about. And unleashing your team's greatness starts with understanding your individual profiles and then looking at, let's look at a team profile. And this is an example of a team profile where you plot them around the curve, look at their profiles, and then look at the energy mix and the energy balance for your team. And you say, well, what stands out most for my team? What are some of the challenges my team could be experiencing? What steps could I take to improve on these challenges? And that's what a team assessment does for us. The team assessment takes the individual profiles, the individual energy mix, put you all around the table and say, now let's discuss this and let's understand each other better. In a team like this, where we've got the conductor as the leader of the team, and this is an example of a client of mine where the conductor is the leader of the team. We've got the conductor, the leader of the team, and then the team members. It's a small team. A champion, a coach, 2 connectors, and a custodian. One of the first things the team discussed was the fact that the conductor is highly strung with his high activating energy, his high tempering energy. If he's got an idea, he wants it completed yesterday. And if the team are asking questions or trying to get through the detail, it's very frustrating for the conductor with his really high activating, really high tempering energy. And when he could see, well, this is what's happening. I'm running at this speed. My team are actually trying to get into the details. So I do need to slow down. I do need to fill in the gaps. And on their side, they're saying, well, now I understand why he's running at that pace. And sometimes the ideas do need to just get ran with, and we do need to just feedback on time and in a manner that's going to suit that. But understanding where the blocks come from, understanding what the challenges are, understanding how we can overcome them, and how we can do better as a team is really what maximizes the value for that team, for the company, and just keeps generating value and does create a heightened level of engagement and happiness for all. Albertus is saying, finding the right solution by understanding the problem, analysis paralysis, and impact on the bigger picture. Absolutely, analysis paralysis, and this is now we're talking high tempering energy, I'm pretty sure. And when we've got high tempering energy, that's one of the things we must be aware of and be able to overcome and really just move ourselves forward in that space. So I want to just go through these comments real quick and see if there's anything that I've missed here. We've got Linda who says inspiring and sustaining energy. Exactly. We could have 2 dominant energies that we shift between, remembering that all of us have all 4 energies. Cobb's custodian, but not balanced, balanced. That's interesting. Very good, Cobb's. And balance also comes from how we utilize our energies and how we shift between them when we need to. Herman says, I have high inspiring energy, making me a coach. And yeah, we've gone through the rest of these comments. Remember to pop your comments in if you've got any. And I want to do a quick shout out to Ambika Jadu from Midrand. That's my sister on the call today. So I wanted to shout her out and her team at Next Start to say welcome and hope you're gaining value from the session. So in a nutshell, unlocking your natural energy and unleashing your team's greatness for me and for you and for everyone out there is all about the bottom line. It's your bottom line. The bottom line is the bottom line. For you, it's about adding value to yourself. It's about maximizing your own contribution. It's about getting the most out of yourself and giving the most to others in whatever space you're functioning. Same goes for your team. It's about creating engagement, positive energy, and really just shining and moving forward together. For your company, it's about bringing all of this and getting the most value you can, putting people into the right roles, into the right functions, into the right areas so that they're able to thrive and to deliver at their absolute peak and best performance. And I think that with that note, I'm going to say I'm going to wrap it up right here. The bottom line is the bottom line. Remember that always. And Anne is going to do a fabulous job to take everything that I've shared and add her own insights to it and to really take us into the next level. And I'm going to, on that note, say thank you all. Hand over to Anne, and I'll catch you again at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Usha, and welcome to everybody on this webinar. I'm privileged to be sharing this platform with Belinda and Usha. And I'll take you through a process of understanding from a team perspective, but I'd like you to think about teams as more than just in a working environment. So teams can be in a sports environment, in your circle of friends, in your family, is understanding when there's more than one, there are dynamics in place. So that's the context for what I mean by team dynamics is any interaction where there's more than two will be starting, or even with two, there are dynamics created. I also like to see the tool contribution compass also being used in cycles. So everything in our nature is around cycles. We've got the moon cycle. We've got the low ebb and or high tides and low tides. We've got day and night. Everything in life is around life cycles. So if we're looking at plants as well, is we're starting with the seed, then the sun comes and we give it a warmth and we give it water and it starts really growing well and coming to fruit. And then we go into harvest, we collect that the harvest of what we seeded in the first place. And then there is a period of analyzing, of quietness, of hibernation, of recovering. And so the same happens in your own life cycles. We see this when we are born. We've got through all these stages of life, but even within our process or rhythm or cycles of life, there are different projects, like, we're getting married, then we're having children, and then we have a career, then the children grow up and we're sitting without the children. So everything in life is around cycles and rhythms. So I want you to think of, when you're looking at the different cycles and the different energies, they are aligned. So as Usha started off, it's all about the activating energy. So that is your spring. It's about new ideas, new possibilities, new opportunities. It's light and fast and fun and exciting. And then we're going over to the summer, which is the inspiring energy. So it's making sure that we've got the right people around us, that we nurture them and keep them warm and fuzzy and all aligned and grouped together so that they grow to their great potential. And then we're going to the sustaining energy, which is your autumn, where you're harvesting the ideas, the opportunities, the projects, the possibilities identified in the first place in spring, in the activating energy. And we need to complete the cycles by looking at going through winter and being able to analyze what has happened, see how we can improve, what is needed to take it to the next level, and then we go to the next cycle again. We're coming up with new ideas and we're coming with new projects and we're coming up with new opportunities. So for any cycle, any project, any interaction to be maximized, is you need to go through all these 4 stages in your project, in your life. And most of us, when we feel stuck, is when we are stuck in not being able to move from one energy to another. So because so a bit of background. So my name is Baret, and I've been in the corporate world for 20 odd years, mostly responsible for finance. But to be quite honest, I hated finance. I was against my flow. It was really not what I was passionate about. I was passionate, or am passionate, about human behavior. How do we maximize performance within individuals and within teams? So I'll take you through the life cycle of an organization that started about 20 years ago, and show you what happens with that specific team. And you can apply that in your own environment, whether it's in a work environment or within your family. You can apply it in so many different ways. So this is going through one specific team, one specific organization. So these 2 people started a restaurant many years ago, 17 odd years ago. And as I mentioned with cycle, they were actually the perfect pair to start an organization. So they came up with a new concept, And the one person could be high activating, could come up with all the menus, could be visually seeing the opportunities there. They could see how they could differentiate themselves. And then the person and the partner, the second partner, was focusing on ensuring that the right teams were appointed, and being able to maximize the potential of all the individuals. And as this organization grew, what happens is, what we do in many organizations or in many teams, is we employ more of each other because we like each other, we understand people that are similar to us, we employ lookalikes of us because that's the easiest to manage, or we perceive that to be easiest to manage. So you can see already the great imbalance that we have is this company started now focusing continuously on new opportunities, new ideas, new possibilities. So over a period of time, the coach just increased the teams, and they came to a point where they now grew to such an extent that they actually needed to employ somebody to actually looking at systems and processes to make sure that we're still on track on the growth. So can you imagine if this person didn't come on board, we would keep on focusing on new ideas and on growth, but nothing would be sustainable because we're not anchoring, we're not ensuring that with the data that we have, do we have enough to be able to go forward? What needs to be systemized for growth? What needs to be improved on? What is not efficient? What can be more efficient? So what happened then is, as you can see, there's no sustaining energy. So fortunately, they realized that through the help of Sadar, and they employed a financial person who is very, very strong in sustaining energy. So now it looks like this team is starting to get balanced. However, there is a great deal of conflict within this team because of the strong activating energy. So what they also employed is a marketing person with a more activating energy. So that's why, you've got 3 people on top. So what do you think the problem is in that environment? I'd love to know what you think based on this picture of having 3 activating people. So high catalyst, high activating energy with strong coaching energy, very strong person, and then also the sustaining person and the tempering operations guys. Where do you think this company keeps on continuously failing? So one of the things, I can't see any feedback yet. So one of the things that you will see is great conflict between activating energy and sustaining energy. So it's going to be about slowing down the process, and the activators are going to say this is poor. We need to slow down. We need to relook at things. And you're so right, Karen. One of the big problems is poor customer service, and in this environment, their customers, it's a franchise environment, so it's very, there are very few customers. So the attention to nurturing those customers is actually not happening. Yes, Usha, you're totally right. We're continuously talking about new ideas. We're all over the show and we're never actually implementing anything. And then furthermore, we're not implementing it. We can't measure it. So we never go to the next stage of improvement. Musanda, that's interesting that you find yourself above average in all the 4 quadrants. So we call it like a square. It's quite balanced. And that's very, very great awareness for you to be able to see that is your value is in so many areas. But there's always going to be this one energy that it's so easy, that it's so much easier to get into flow. So going back to this profile of this organization at this life cycle, so they need to take it because they've got poor customer service. What was decided then is that they would take 2 members of this team away from this. So 2 catalysts were removed. There's actually 3 members. 2 catalysts were removed, and The coach, unfortunately, was removed as well. So we still don't have the balance, but now because it's a retail environment or it's a franchise environment, the calibrator profile has been brought in. So there's greater balance. We're looking at, so we've got lots of ideas. We've done a lot. So now is a time to actually analyzing what is working, what hasn't worked. So this is a process we are while engaging with the customers. But you can see the big drawback here is that we still have a big void here with no inspiring energy. And in that head office environment, there is actually very little of it. So what do you think the result is now? Where do you think they're sitting now? So you've got strong sustaining energy. It's very focused now on systems and processes. It's about how are we going to multiply this franchise environment by maximizing on the information that we have and taking it to the next level. So the biggest challenge that this team has currently is that we're not all on board, we're not all buying into the same things, and there's nobody that is ensuring that there is a team performance. Yes, thanks, Karen. So it's very low performance, very low motivation. And because it is a national franchise, it becomes even more difficult because it's not like we can just pop into each other with the teams. So we've got low performance and low engagement, low motivation with the customer, but also within our teams. So that is the next step of the cycle that needs to happen. So those two team members that left this team to focus on more opportunities, they're original partners, and they're going through their own process. So they both started the business so many years ago. They've brought it to a level as founders and owners of business to something that is now where they're out of flow. They're not able to create the same way as they were. And for the coach, he wasn't able to contribute in his flow. He had to come up the whole time with systems and processes to take the company to the next level. So he has been out of flow for so many years. So doing something that you really you're good at it, but that's where all your energy goes. You don't flow, you don't go into flow. That's not where your highest performance is. But they're also a couple. So they're in this cycle of business, and at the same time they need to reinvent themselves, disrupt themselves, going back to what is in flow within a business and within their personal journey and within a relationship. So this is quite a challenge, and you find the cycle continuously happening with founder-based businesses, which is where I'm mostly involved with, where the founders and the owners of the business are still involved. So they're at the stage where they've got to reinvent themselves, stepping back to allowing the business to move forward because they can't add value at this stage, but reinventing themselves at personal and business level. So it's a great challenge. And I'm sure some of you will resonate with this. So this concludes what a company and a company, the life cycle of a company, which is continuously going through all four energies within teams and organizations that different people need to lead at different times and different life cycles of the organization, and different people need to step up at different stages of the cycle of a project or a team growth or a company growth, and understanding that we need to be flexible on being able to change all these different people. So with this, I'm going to hand you over to Belinda, who's going to deep dive even further. So we're going deeper and deeper. And so thank you, Belinda and Usha.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Usha. Good morning, everybody. My name is Belinda Doveston, and it's absolutely a pleasure to be with you today. Right, so we've got a lot to bring together. There's so much more that we can share with you on this topic. Really, there's an endless amount of things that we can talk about. And what I wanted to share with you is my particular passion as a calibrator profile, which is all about perfecting the system. In my first career in IT, as an IT analyst and developer, I was very obsessed about the details of systems, the process model, the individual little bits and bytes that make systems work. And as I've worked with really maturing my profile and how I unlock value with my profile, I've been lifting my level, my perspective on me and my contribution. And so now, having gone through the journey, and obviously we're always on a journey, my passion is the ecosystem of business. How we look at the organization and we understand its purpose, its focus, its culture, its task that it's here to do to make a contribution to the world. We're not here just to put rands and cents into the bucket. We're here to make a meaningful contribution to changing the world that we live in. And how do we do that? Through great businesses, amazing leadership, and real visionary and transformative processes that we can all tap into and work towards. So that's my passion of how do we change the world through business. That's my grandiose vision. Okay, so when we come to the contribution compass and its path of helping us do that, this is a very powerful tool, a simple tool to really help us focus on what's really important. And let's admit that focus is something we all struggle with. Trying to focus on what's really important from moment to moment is a real challenge. So I wanted to start with this idea of flow. And wherever you are right now, the only exception is if you're driving, is to close your eyes for a moment and just think about a time. Yes, close your eyes with me. My eyes are closed. And think about a moment in your workplace, perhaps over the last couple of months, where you were in the zone. And in the zone feels like you lose sense of time because you're so into and part of what you're doing. You're so involved in this moment of whatever it is that you lose a sense of time and you lose a sense of yourself almost in a little sense. And you pop out of this experience, even if it's 2 minutes, you pop out of this experience of being in the flow, in the zone, and you think, oh, that felt so good. And when you look at what you created or what you did in that zone of flow, you think, wow, that's really amazing. How can I do more of that? And one of the things that I've seen in working with the contribution compass is that it gives us this opportunity of being in that beautiful little flow zone where time just disappears, right? And we get amazing results because we are doing something where we're in that zone of flow. And I really hope that you have all been able to have in your mind an experience of being in the zone. And if you haven't, well, that's your homework, is to go out and understand that. But my experience is that the contribution compass and your profile gives you a very pretty good idea of what gives you that little happy zone. So I wanted to start with this idea of flow, that our task is to be in flow. Because when we're in flow, firstly, we're happier. And second of all, we are contributing more, we're creating amazing things, and we're making a wonderful contribution to our world around us. So this model of flow was created by Mahali, I'm not even trying to pronounce his surname, and it's a really powerful picture of what flow looks like. And really what flow is about is that our task is to increase our level of capability, the things that we're able to do, our competence, but also increase and choose to increase our degree of challenge. Because as we increase our capability and as we increase our challenge, we move across this happy space in the middle, the flow channel, where our challenge that we are facing meets the skills that we have. And we go in these little kind of eddies circling up through as we increase our skills and expertise, our capability, and we take on bigger challenges, we move up this flow. And staying in this channel is where we have that feeling of being in the zone of flow. Because surprise, surprise, when you study the brain, scientists know that our brains love challenges. We love to be challenged. We don't love lying on the beach. It's nice for maybe for the first day and then we're bored. Our brains love a challenge. So our task is to understand where is this happy place in this flow channel in the middle where we literally are in that zone of flow and are growing and contributing. Because what tends to happen is if we have a high degree of challenge, but we don't have the capability, we develop huge anxiety. I think of our kids in schools with all the homework, huge anxiety around a huge challenge without the capability. And then, of course, if we have lots of capability but not enough challenge, we're bored. So we don't want those two things. We want to be right in the middle. And my experience is working with the contribution compass, with your profile, really just getting into it and working with it and making it a part of your thought process helps us stay in that pipe. And so understanding your profile is not about being complacent to it. It's about working it. So if you've done your profile, this next tip will really help you in unlocking your profile. And no matter what profile system you might use in your future, this is relevant to you as well. One of the key things we can do to unlock our profiles is, number one, is develop self-awareness through it. You know, often with profiling tools, we do the profile and we shove them in a drawer and then that's the end of it. And we have this vague sense of what the profile is all about. Well, the profile is there to help us develop a deeper sense of self-awareness, because in doing that, we increase our capability and we increase our understanding of the challenge. We push the flow pipe up and we actually get somewhere. So self-awareness is the number one, numero uno, in getting into flow and increasing the flow that we're part of. Number two, we have to have courage to step out of the comfort zone. And, you know, I was having a discussion this week that, you know, we think that, or past thinking is that just get a job in one of these giant big companies and you'll have security, you'll have a pension, you'll have all the benefits, you'll be okay, you'll be safe. And the world's not like that anymore. In fact, you know, you go to these big, large organizations and you get retrenched. And I'm sure maybe some of you listening today have been in that position where you've taken the safe route, you've taken something that's secure, that's known, that's maybe easy. And what happened? Well, it actually wasn't that great after all. And so stepping out of our comfort zone is about that flow pipe. Think about the capability and increasing the challenge, that we have to step out of the comfort zone. And the profile, understanding your profile, is not about being comfortable and putting yourself in a box. I can't stay in a calibrator box and say, oh, I'm a calibrator, I don't do anything else. I have to push my comfort zones, but I have to also push up my calibrator-ness. You know, I have to push my comfort zone around what that means. And then the third part is that we need to cultivate leadership. It does not matter whether technically you're a manager or not a manager, or a leader or not a leader. It's about developing leadership qualities wherever you are. You might be using those in your community. You might be developing leadership in your family. You might be doing that in your workplace. But it does, the piece of paper that you have, the job title, the contract that you have signed, just because it doesn't say manager doesn't mean you're not a leader or should not develop leadership. And so as we look at how do we unlock our profiles, three things: develop our self-awareness, step out of the comfort zone. Step out of the comfort zone before life forces you out of the comfort zone, because we are here to grow. And if we are not growing, and if you're not taking responsibility for being out of the comfort zone, it is going to do it for us. And let me tell you, it's much better to be in charge of that process. And then the third is cultivating leadership. Great question from Greg. As one matures within your profile, does your profile scores change? My experience, I've done the profiling tool many, many times over the years, and I'm still the same result, even though sometimes I wish I was something else. So, you know, your actual result in terms of your profile, unless you're sitting right on the edge of a cusp between profiles, is unlikely to move. What you do find, though, is I think your percentages across the four does tend to change, does evolve and move. So, yeah, I do think you might have some slight tweaks across the percentages, but in essence, you always come back to your main profile. Thanks for the great question. Okay, so what I want to do is, we've talked about what are some of the things, the strategies we can then do to unlock your own profile. And what I'd like to do next is just share some examples around the team perspective, because, you know, what's really interesting about the ecosystem of a team is once you put a whole lot of people together, you know, we react and we engage in very interesting ways. You know, it's very interesting. There's never a rule around how a team is going to behave. But what we find is that when you work with the contribution compass on an individual and on a team level, what you find is you find that you have an understanding of why you're having the challenges you're having, and what are some of the deeper energetic processes happening within a team that's not about your MBA. This is about the human dynamics and what happens when we interact and we engage in a team with a concerted focus. So I wanted to share 3 examples, quick examples of some things that we've seen. Obviously, there's loads of stories we could share. The first one is a story that I call overcompensation. In this particular example, we have 2 executive directors of a company being 2 catalysts. We have a champion and a coach being the 2 non-executive directors on the board. And what happened in their board meetings is because these catalyst directors were quite roguish and maverick in the way that they were leading the organization, the champion and the coach swung around to the other side of the compass to more tempering, sustaining energy because of the high levels of risk the organization faced. And what we were finding is that 2 things. One is the end of every board meeting, our 2 non-executive directors, the champion and the coach, always felt totally exhausted, shattered after a board meeting. Because why? They were operating opposite to what their natural energy was. They had to exert a huge amount of brain power in order to try and play a game that was not natural. Number 2, because they were not in their zone of flow, the 2 other directors said, well, what's their real contribution to the meeting? They're not really bringing anything, because these 2 directors were playing roles they weren't supposed to and were out of their zone of flow, not shining the way they should. So in teams, we compensate for what we feel is missing in the room, naturally, unconsciously. And so by doing so, we then mitigate the opportunity to really shine in the roles that we are. Okay, so that's my story 1. Story 2 is a story that I call the blame game. In this, I see there's lots of stuff happening here, so thanks for all the questions and comments. We'll come back to it in a moment. Number 2 is the blame game. In this particular situation, this was an executive team. We had a catalyst and 2 champions, and right at the bottom, a custodian. And so there were quite a lot of problems in this team, and I spoke to the custodian and I said, please explain to me what being in this team feels like. And what she said is, she says, I feel like the basket that's trying to hold down 3 hot air balloons from going out to space. And you can see, without having seen this picture, what she was describing is feeling like she's trying to hold back these 3 maverick, crazy, high activating people wanting to go out into space. And then when I asked the other directors, what does it feel like to be in a team with your custodian? And without them knowing what she had said, they said, we feel like she's the sandbags holding us back from greatness. And so in this particular team, they were using the same analogy, which I just think is just amazing. But what they were doing is they were explaining this idea that the custodian, in her mind, this high activating team members, 3 of them were the problem. They were too out head in the clouds, and she was the one saving the team. And the others think we are the ones saving the team and she's the problem. And so they got into a blame game psychologically between them as to who was actually the fault. But you can see from an outsider point of view that they actually desperately need each other to try and stay in the middle somewhere. So in understanding your team dynamics through this kind of picture really helps to unpack what are some of the problems this team is having and where they might come from. What might be some of the issues that are causing the human dynamics and the conflict in this team, which really takes away from the wonderful work that they're there to do. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is an example I call misaligned to values. Here was a big team. It was a department, a government department in an African country. And in this case, you can see that there's huge alignment of custodian, grounded, sustaining energy in this team, a very large executive team. Now, in government departments, you would expect to see high sustaining energy because it is about honoring the promise. It's about policy and implementing policy, not inventing policy, because that happens at a government level. So you expect a high sustaining energy in a government or type department. But the challenge this team had was one of their 4 core values was the word innovation. And one of the things they were always getting into trouble with as a team is that they were not delivering on their innovation mandate. In fact, the innovation projects and discussions were always put to the end of the queue whenever addressed and becoming a bit of an issue. And once they had seen their collection as a team, they went, oh, is that why we're struggling with innovation? Because there was such a strong weighting of sustaining energy in this team that it was like literally impossible. It's the analogy is, you try jumping off Earth, okay? Gravity holds you whether you like it or not. You've got to use a lot of power to get off the planet. And so that's the type of idea, is that although they had 2 catalysts, it wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of a balance in this team to make sure that the keyword of innovation as a value was being addressed. So very interesting when you start to see what are the challenges that a team has in fulfilling its purpose, and then you start unpacking that and saying, oh, where does it really come from? And what you invariably come to is there's some kind of misalignment or balance or process under the surface to work through. So the contribution compass as a tool on an individual level, on a team level, is a fantastic tool to help unlock that flow of helping a team to get to where they need to without all the drama, with minimum drama, and to help us really develop ourselves and to grow. So I'm going to take a quick look through any questions. Admire says sometimes you need to do a self-introspection, SWOT analysis of yourself, and it'll be easy for you to accept advice from a friend. Absolutely. Let's see. Sonda, interesting enough, it commends a need for continuous self and team improvement for a greater high success rate against faced challenges or tasks. Absolutely. With self-awareness and with team awareness, when you understand the very complex and interesting flow issues that happen within a team, how we compensate, how we engage, how we conflict, how we rally, like, it's very interesting, and it makes it a challenge because we have to dig deeper and we have to go below the surface to understand what is really going on. All right, so if there's any other questions or comments, please pop those in as we go through it. So what I'd like to do is to let you know that if you would like to learn more about the Contribution Compass, the Contribution Compass team is running a workshop called Maximising Team Contribution on Friday, the 1st of November. So that's around the corner, a couple of weeks away. They've got a great deal running. It's a cost of 1,495 Rand, excluding VAT, which includes the profile, valued at 995. And it's in celebration of the National Entrepreneurship Month that commences in November, I think. So if you'd like to register for this event, please get in touch with the Enshrine team so they can hook you up and provide you with the extra details that you need to get into that event. So Friday the 1st of November is around the corner, and get in touch to find out how you can get involved with that. Really worthwhile to really unpack and get into your profile and into how to apply it within your team. And then what we're also doing within the Enshrine Learning Academy is that Usha, myself, and Anne, we are working with the Enshrine team and Enshrine client database to provide support services on the Contribution Compass. So at this stage, there's 2 key ways that can happen. We work with a one-on-one profile debrief process, which really aims to help you as an individual to apply and work with your particular talents, your profiles, and natural energy. Really useful for your career coaching, in development planning for yourself or for a member of your team, and also in terms of transitioning in retrenchment. So, if you've got a team and you've got people that you need to retrench or are being through retrench, why not help them work through how they can better align their flow in their next step in their career, and of course overcoming workplace challenges. So one of the things we've worked with is you've got 2 people who aren't getting along, there's an issue, there's a conflict in a team, doing a debrief on each individual, and you start to realize, okay, how can we work better together? Because usually there's some kind of fundamental flow conflict that can be resolved. Really powerful. And then there's a team profile debrief, so taking through each of the individual profiles, putting together, looking at the team, looking at each individual's particular role within the team, how that's aligned or not aligned, and it really provides excellent insight into the collective natural energy of the team, the balance, the specific issues, and how the profile itself of the team and the individual collection and disbursement of energy can tie into some of the challenges the team is having, and of course how to overcome them. So really 2 powerful processes that can bring the Contribution Compass into your organizations. If you're a leader of your team and you're needing some help with your team, or planning on how you're going to really knock it out of the park in 2020, I really encourage you to get in touch with the Enshrine team, and all bookings take place through them. So really powerful. Okay, so that was my little bit for the day. I hope that that's helped you to think about flow. If you'd like to find out more from me, one of my passions in life is helping people understand how to master their relationship with change. And the founding tool or the underlying philosophy behind the contribution compass is the I Ching. And I have a YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. You just subscribe to the channel, and you can come and join me for weekly, monthly overviews and for learning topics all on the I Ching. So if you'd like to go along and check out the I Ching Cafe on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram for a daily stories to inspire you with change every single day. Next up, I'd like to hand over to Anne to give us some closing thoughts and to share how we can get hold of you. Okay, Anne is left. Hopefully she's coming back. Usha, can we hand over to you? Tell us about what you're doing at Meraki Evolution and how we can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Belinda. And thanks to everyone for joining the session this morning. I think it's just been absolutely jam-packed. And for those of you who are learning to see the contribution compass, I think you would have seen the different energies in the three presenters this morning, and you would have guessed which sort of profiles we might be sitting in, and that's exactly it. It's just learning how to recognize the contribution compass profiles and energies, and then just gain the most value out of it for yourself and for the teams around you. I would like to draw your attention to Meraki Evolution, which is really just it's in its toddler stages. We're just getting it up and running. Meraki is focused all on leadership and women empowerment. So find us on Facebook and Instagram. We're sharing such fabulous content there. Just engage with us on those platforms and help us to spread the word and grow Meraki Evolution. And then also engage me directly, Usha Maharaj. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Let's keep the conversation. Let's keep the conversation going, and let's just open the door to driving performance up for ourselves and for our teams out there. And Belinda, Anne hasn't popped back in the room, so I'm going to do a quick shout out for Anne from Team Dynamics. And really, Anne's focused on growth of your teams, on culture in your organizations, and she's also sharing exquisite information at teamdynamics.co.za and on Facebook and on Instagram. Her handles are on the screen up in front of you. Connect with all of us, just engage with us, ask us your questions. You'll find that we're more than happy to help you offline and help you to take yourself to the next level. Thank you once again to everyone for joining. You're welcome and invited to pop your closing comments into the chat box. And we've loved that you've been in the room with us this morning. We look forward to seeing you in November for the last and final Enshrine Learning Academy webinar of 2019. That's how quickly the year's gone by. We'll see you on that webinar, and then we'll catch you in 2020 thereafter. It's been great having you all on the webinar with us today, and thanks to Anne and Belinda for just fabulous information around the contribution compass and how we can use it to take ourselves and our teams up to the next level. Thanks to all. Have a fabulous day further. That's it from us. Goodbye.